When two worlds collided in 2020 under the hauntingly beautiful series Flower of Evil, audiences found themselves unable to tear away from the screen. What began as a simple premise of a man hiding a past and a woman determined to seek the truth soon spiraled into one of the most unforgettable K-drama thrillers of the decade. At the center of this story stood Jun Gi and Chae Won, actors whose emotional intensity not only carried the series, but elevated it into a cultural phenomenon. Together, they did not just tell a story of deception and suspense, but redefined what it meant for a drama to be dark, romantic, and utterly enthralling. For Jun Gi, Flower of Evil marked another chapter in his long and celebrated career. Known for his versatility and striking screen presence, he has often inhabited roles that demand both vulnerability and strength. Yet Baek Hee-sung, later revealed as Do Hyun-soo, was unlike any role he had ever played. Here was a man who lived under a carefully constructed facade, a loving husband and father who, beneath the surface, was hiding a past that could destroy everything. Lee's performance captured the chilling duality of a man constantly teetering between the safety of his present and the shadows of his past. The piercing way he embodied Hyun-soo's trauma, his inability to express emotions naturally, and his desperate attempts to hold on to the love he never believed he deserved struck audiences in ways few performances ever do. Chae Won as Chae Won became the perfect foil and counterpart to Lee's character. As a detective and a wife, Ji-won was written with a strength and complexity that gave depth to the narrative. She was not simply the unsuspecting spouse destined to discover her partner's secret. She was intelligent, determined, and empathetic, a woman capable of holding her own in a world full of lies and half-truths. Moon's performance shimmered with raw authenticity. Every flicker of doubt in her eyes, every moment she struggled between her instincts as a detective and her emotions as a wife, layered Ji-won into a character both human and unforgettable. It was not merely the plot that made Flower of Evil resonate so deeply. It was the way these two actors inhabited their roles with a chemistry so potent it transcended the boundaries of the screen. From the first episode to the finale, viewers were gripped not only by the mystery of Hyun-soo's past, but by the fragile, heartbreaking romance between him and Ji-won. The series became less about the truth that could shatter their family and more about the love that refused to be extinguished despite it all. Every gaze, every touch, every confrontation between them carried the weight of years of suppressed emotions and lingering fears. Theirs was not a romance draped in light-hearted banter or easy resolutions, but one forged in shadows, pain, and sacrifice. It was dark, it was twisted, but it was also one of the purest portrayals of love in K-drama history. The emotional intensity of Flower of Evil was magnified by its unrelenting atmosphere. The direction and cinematography wrapped the story in shades of noir, where suspense bled into tenderness. Each frame felt carefully composed to amplify tension and intimacy. Viewers were drawn into the suffocating weight of Hyun-soo's lies, the precariousness of Ji-won's investigations, and the fragile world that could collapse at any moment. Yet in those quiet moments, when Hyun-soo allowed himself to smile with his daughter, or when Ji-won clung to her husband despite her doubts, the darkness would break just enough for love to shine through. That juxtaposition made the series more than just a thriller. It was a meditation on trust, redemption, and the capacity for human connection even in the bleakest of circumstances. Jun Gi's performance as Do Hyun-soo remains a career-defining role. The meticulousness with which he portrayed a man unable to feel emotions was staggering. His blank stares, stiff body language, and awkward interactions were so carefully nuanced that audiences could not help but believe he was truly detached from the world. Yet, as the series progressed, the cracks in Hyun-soo's walls began to show, and Lee infused those moments with heart-wrenching vulnerability. The subtle tremor in his voice when speaking to Ji-won, the desperation in his eyes when trying to shield his daughter, the unspoken yearning to be understood, all combined to create a performance that left audiences breathless. It was not simply acting, it was transformation. Chae Won's Chae Won stood as the heartbeat of the series. She became the emotional anchor, carrying the audience through the labyrinth of secrets and lies. Her portrayal balanced strength with fragility, making her not just a detective, but a woman deeply human in her fears and hopes. Ji Won's journey, from suspicion to betrayal, from heartbreak to reconciliation, was delivered with a grace that few could match. Her scenes with Jun Gi crackled with authenticity, drawing audiences into the raw and often painful reality of love entangled in deception. It was this emotional honesty that allowed the romance to feel as intense as the thriller aspects of the story. Beyond the characters themselves, Flower of Evil challenged the conventions of K-drama storytelling. While many thrillers before it relied on plot twists and action, this series dared to make its heart the fragile love between its leads. It asked bold questions. Can love survive lies? Can trust be rebuilt after betrayal? Can someone who has lived their life in shadows truly find redemption in another's embrace? These themes resonated with viewers worldwide, sparking conversations and fan theories that continued long after the finale aired. The show proved that thrillers did not need to sacrifice emotional depth for suspense, and that romance could thrive even in the darkest of narratives. The series' international success further solidified its place as a game-changer in the K-drama industry. Fans across the globe, from Asia to the Americas, praised the writing, performances, and production quality. Social media buzzed with discussions, edits, and fan art as viewers poured their hearts into celebrating the drama. Many even confessed to rewatching it multiple times, unable to let go of the characters or the story. For some, Flower of Evil was their first introduction to Jun Gi and Chae Won, and it cemented their status as powerhouses of the Korean entertainment industry. What truly made the drama unforgettable was the way it lingered in the minds of its audience. Even years later, fans cannot stop revisiting their favorite moments. Hyun-soo's quiet confession, Ji-won's anguished tears, the family's tender reunions. These were not just scenes in a television show. They were experiences etched into memory, emotions that refused to fade. Viewers often speak of the Flower of Evil hangover, that unshakable feeling of emptiness after finishing the series, when nothing else seems capable of matching its intensity. That in itself is the mark of a masterpiece. The chemistry between Jun Gi and Chae Won also sparked calls for future collaborations. Their synergy was undeniable, a pairing that brought out the best in each other's craft. Whether it was in moments of fierce confrontation or quiet intimacy, they created magic on screen. Fans longed to see them reunite, to once again witness the emotional fireworks that made Flower of Evil such a rare gem. In an industry filled with countless pairings, few have managed to carve such an indelible place in the hearts of viewers. Ultimately, Flower of Evil was more than just a drama. It was an exploration of love and identity, of the masks we wear and the truths we hide. Jun Gi and Chae Won brought to life a romance that was messy, painful, and achingly beautiful. Their story reminded audiences that love is not always bright and easy. It can be dark, complicated, and fraught with obstacles. Yet it is precisely in overcoming those obstacles that love finds its truest form. Years may pass, new dramas may capture the spotlight, but the legacy of Flower of Evil endures. It redefined what audiences expect from K-drama thrillers and set a new standard for emotional storytelling. The performances of Jun Gi and Chae Won will continue to be studied, celebrated, and cherished, standing as a testament to the power of acting and the magic of storytelling. For fans who cannot let go, the series is not just a memory, but a touchstone, a reminder of why they fell in love with K-dramas in the first place. Jun Gi and Chae Won gave us a dark romance that was as unsettling as it was beautiful, as painful as it was healing. They reminded us that love is not about perfection, but about perseverance, not about avoiding the darkness, but about finding light within it. And for that, Flower of Evil will forever remain a masterpiece, a rare jewel in the crown of Korean drama history, and a story fans will carry in their hearts for years to come. When Flower of Evil ended, it did not simply fade away like most dramas do. Instead, it left behind an echo, a heavy resonance that still lingers in the minds of fans across the globe. There are stories that entertain, stories that make us smile, and then there are rare stories like this one. Stories that stay with us, haunt us, and remind us of the fragility and strength of human connection. Jun Gi and Chae Won gave us something more than just a performance. They gave us a window into the dark, often painful corridors of love, trust, and redemption. And once you step into that world, it is almost impossible to step out unscathed. Fans who finish the series often describe the experience as bittersweet. The ending tied together the threads of redemption and forgiveness, but it also left a bittersweet ache, the kind of ache you feel when you have lived through a love so intense and raw that nothing else seems to measure up afterward. That is the magic of Flower of Evil. It's not just about unraveling a murder mystery or catching the bad guy. It's about watching two broken souls choose each other over and over, even when the weight of truth threatened to crush them. One of the most fascinating things about Flower of Evil is how it redefined the boundaries of genre. Traditionally, K-dramas keep romance and thrillers as separate lanes, rarely intertwining them in such a deeply emotional way. Yet, this drama blurred those lines, proving that love stories don't have to be soft and innocent to move us. They can be gritty, they can be dark, and they can be drenched in shadows while still carrying immeasurable beauty. It dared to show us that romance can live even in the darkest corners of the human psyche, where guilt, fear, and longing collide. That daring is what made the show unforgettable. But beyond the brilliance of the writing and directing, it was Jun Gi and Chae Won's synergy that breathed life into this tale. Their chemistry was so tangible that every scene between them felt electric, unpredictable, and raw. There were moments when no words were spoken, and yet the tension in the air was deafening. A stolen glance, a trembling hand, a fleeting hesitation. All of it spoke volumes, carving deeper wounds into our hearts. That is the level of artistry that turned Flower of Evil into more than just a thriller. It became an emotional masterpiece. Even now, fans revisit their favorite scenes, analyzing the subtle expressions that revealed more than the script ever could. They share edits, write essays, and create fan theories that keep the legacy of the drama alive. And perhaps that is the true measure of its success, not just the ratings or awards, but the fact that it continues to live on in the hearts of its audience. That is why Flower of Evil has become a touchstone for those who crave more than surface-level storytelling. It gave us complexity, it gave us intensity, and it gave us a love story that will forever be remembered as one of the most unique in K-drama history. And yet, even as we celebrate its brilliance, fans cannot help but ask, what's next for Jun Gi and Chae Won? Could we ever see them reunited on screen again, bringing us another masterpiece that challenges the limits of genre and emotion? The possibility alone keeps the fandom alive with anticipation, because once you've witnessed the kind of synergy they created, nothing else feels quite the same. That longing, that insatiable hunger for stories that stir our souls, is exactly why we gather here at midnight in Seoul. This is more than just a channel. It's a place where fans like you can relive the magic of dramas like Flower of Evil and discover new ones that carry the same emotional weight. We go beyond the screen, diving into the hidden layers, the performances that shook us, the themes that challenged us, and the stories that linger in our hearts long after the credits roll. If you've made it this far, it means Flower of Evil touched you just as deeply as it touched me. It means you're the kind of viewer who doesn't just watch dramas, but feels them, breathes them, and carries them within you. And that is exactly why Midnight in Seoul exists, to give you a community, a space where your love for K-dramas is celebrated and amplified. Together, we can revisit the classics, explore the new, and hold on to the unforgettable. So, if you're ready to dive deeper, to relive the breathtaking intensity of Jun Gi and Chae Won, and to discover more stories that redefine what K-dramas can be, then this is your invitation. Join us. Subscribe to Midnight in Seoul and step into a world where the beauty of Korean storytelling is never forgotten. Because some dramas deserve more than just a single watch. They deserve to be lived with, remembered, and celebrated again and again. At Midnight in Seoul, we'll continue to bring you stories that move you to your core. Stories that make you laugh, cry, and question the very essence of love, trust, and humanity. And just like Flower of Evil, these stories will stay with you, shaping the way you see romance, thrillers, and the magic that happens when the two collide. The night is long, the city is alive, and the stories are endless. Let's keep this journey alive together. Hit that subscribe button, share your thoughts, and let's make Midnight in Seoul the home for every K-drama lover who refuses to let go of the shows that changed them. Because here, the conversation never ends, and the passion never fades.